They gathered in secret that night, a circle of witches, their candles burning low, their voices chanting in unison. They believed numbers meant power, that their rituals would hold you hostage in the dark. But then something strange happened. The flames on their candles flickered. The symbols they drew began to blur, and suddenly the entire room trembled with a force they could not explain. What was it? Not another spell, not another ritual. It was you, chosen one, walking in like a one-man army, carrying nothing but the presence of God. And in that moment, everything they built collapsed like fragile glass under the weight of truth. Now here's the question: how did you, standing alone, dismantle an entire fortress of shadows? And why is your silence more terrifying to them than their loudest chants? Stay with me, because the answer will not only reveal who you are, it will reveal why they'll never be able to stop you again. Drop a 777 in the comments if you already feel this truth stirring inside your spirit. And to everyone who has stood with this mission through, super thanks. Thank you deeply. Your support is a living testimony that light still overcomes darkness. What happens next will shake you even more. God's chosen ones. One-man army versus witches. How did you destroy them all? They gathered in circles, whispering in shadows. Yet you, chosen one, stood motionless, carrying a presence that felt heavier than thunder. What force causes a single breath to dismantle an army's resolve? When Elijah stood alone against the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel, Scripture records, the fire of the Lord fell and consumed the burnt offering. 1 Kings 18:38. That same invisible fire moved through you, not with noise or spectacle, but with the silent gravity of survival. They needed an army of shadows to face you. You needed only scars and lungs filled with life. And that's why their nights are still haunted. Their altars glowed with candles timed to the moon, their chants rising like storms breaking against stone walls. Yet all their noise could not overcome your stillness. Though they plot evil against you and devise wicked schemes, they cannot succeed. Psalm 21:11. Do you feel the weight of that truth pressing into your own ribs? How could such fragile rituals hope to topple a soul whose authority was never bought, borrowed, or rehearsed? In the hush between their chants and your silence, something shifted. Your silence was more powerful than their loudest curses, more final than their darkest rituals. Every time you refused to answer their darkness, every time you exhaled peace instead of retaliation, their spells cracked like glass under a hammer. No weapon forged against you will prevail. Isaiah 54:17 vibrated through the unseen air, and their torches blew out in the wind. Do you sense now how dangerous your stillness became? Their unity collapsed the moment they realized one steady presence outweighed all their rehearsed performances. 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. Psalm 91:7. They came in numbers, but they left in fragments, terrified not by your retaliation, but by your refusal to play their game. They had strategies, plans, and circles, but no true authority. They rehearsed power like actors desperate for applause, yet you embodied it without effort. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1-5. Without you, their performance had no stage, no meaning, no substance. And here rises an inner question for every soul listening. What happens when imitation collides with authenticity? Their spells became funerals for their own power. Their altars collapsed into rubble. While they performed, you prayed. While they mumbled chants, you whispered hope. And though you bled physically, spiritually, you walked untouchable, carrying an energy forged not in a coven, but in fire. In nights of survival, no ritual could replicate. And so, chosen one, stand now. Stand not as a survivor, but as a living testimony of heaven's design. Their dark theater is in ruins. Your light rises like dawn. This is the moment to rise from silence into declaration. Every listener, every viewer reading these words, rise from your seat. Lift your spirit. Share this truth. Speak it aloud and step into your own authority. You have dismantled their schemes without lifting a finger. Now walk forward without apology. Share this message. Comment your story. Subscribe so this fire spreads, and bless others as you have been blessed. Whether you give a super thanks or simply lend your attention, your presence here fuels a movement of quiet power. I speak this blessing over you. May your scars become songs, your silence become thunder, and your breath become a wind that scatters every dark circle. They marched in crowds, a sea of voices echoing the same hollow chant. Yet you, chosen one, stood like a pillar above them, a solitary rank higher than any throne they could imagine. What power causes a single soul to outweigh 1,000 trembling mouths? When Gideon reduced his army to 300 men and still crushed the Midianites, Scripture records, the Lord said to Gideon, "With the 300 men that lapped, I will save you." Judges 7-7. That same principle burned in you. Authority does not multiply by numbers, it radiates from rank. And the truth is, they hated that you never needed their validation to stand tall. Authority cannot be bought by popularity. It is carved into those who have suffered and endured. That's why, when their noise rose, your silence shook them harder than thunder. They came at you in packs, weaving alliances, whispering in unison, convinced that their collective energy could swallow you whole. But what is a crowd when its heartbeat is fear? One man of you puts to flight 1,000, since it is the Lord your God who fights for you. Joshua 23:10. Do you feel how that reality rattles their bones? Why else were they so obsessed with bringing more bodies, more voices, more shadows? Why couldn't they face you alone? Deep inside they knew their weakness, and weakness always seeks cover in numbers. Numbers were their disguise, their mask, their shield. But masks always slip under the weight of truth. And the truth was simple. You didn't need to recruit strength. You were strength. They stacked themselves like cards, trying to look taller, trying to mimic strength. Yet the ace outranks the deck. This was you, not the noise, but the deciding piece. They believed 10 voices shouting lies could overwhelm one anchored in truth. But the truth of the Lord endures forever. Psalm 117:2, and cut through their chorus. In the great medieval hymn, Dies Irae, it is written, Day of Wrath. That day will dissolve the world in ashes. And in their hearts your silent presence felt like that day, collapsing everything they built with mere breath. Their stacked alliances looked like a fortress, but in the Spirit's eyes, it was nothing more than straw before the fire. And the more they added bodies to their circle, the more fragile it became, because each new voice carried more doubt than power. Crowds are comfort for the weak. History itself testifies mobs burned the innocent because no one among them had courage to stand alone. Psychology calls this diffusion of responsibility. The book of Proverbs names it plainly, though hand join in hand. The wicked shall not be unpunished. Proverbs 11:21. And yet, you stood without backup, without applause, forged through scars and silence and survival. Does it stir something in you to realize how isolation became your training ground, what they called loneliness? Heaven called preparation, what they thought was abandonment. God called consecration. Their gatherings were born of fear, but your solitude was born of fire, and fire always refines gold. Picture their frenzy, a pack howling in the night to sound bigger than they are. Yet a lion does not howl. A lion's quiet stance silences a forest. That was you. While they built unity in secrecy, you were forged in fire. While they rehearsed spells, you were building rank. While they sought validation, you carried scars. And he raises up the poor from the dust and lifts the needy from the ash heap to make them sit with princes. 1 Samuel 2:8. Could there be a clearer sign of why their numbers dissolved before your one? The more they shouted, the more their own weakness echoed, the more they clustered, the more their unity became brittle, and your stillness calm. Rooted, unbothered was the roar they could never imitate. On the battlefield of spirit, their sticks and stones clattered to the ground before your presence even moved. In an old French mystery play, Le Miracle de Théophile, the protagonist tears up his pact with darkness, and the devil flees not because he fights, but because authority exposes illusion. This is exactly what you embodied. They thought you were a random wanderer, but your rank was earned not in their system, not in their rituals, but in nights unseen by any human eye. Your scars told stories their chants could never fabricate. Your endurance was a sermon no altar could silence. They had schemes, but you had scars. They had crowds, but you had rank. And scars carry more authority than spells ever will. They hurled their chants like arrows, but each arrow fell dull. They tried to summon energy, but energy bows to alignment. They tried to build alliances, but alliances crumble before authority. They tried to manipulate outcomes, but outcomes bend to rank. And you, chosen one, were the living evidence that popularity cannot overthrow rank, that numbers cannot counterfeit the crown. You carried a clearance they could never fabricate. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Isaiah 54:17 hummed beneath your every step, and their whispers died before reaching your ears. Their spells became their own chains, their alliances their own cages, and their numbers their own burden. The more they tried, the faster they collapsed, because their foundation was built on fear, and fear cannot stand against truth. Now, see the closing metaphor. A storm of arrows fired at one warrior. The mob, certain the warrior will collapse, yet the arrows bounce off his armor, and they realize the battle is already lost. That was you. They waged war with numbers. You countered with rank. They believed in the power of many. You carried the authority of one. That is why they tremble. For numbers fade, but rank remains. And this is the revelation that must echo inside you. Your scars became armor. Your solitude became strategy. Your silence became a sword. They thought they could drown you in a sea of voices. But you walked on that sea like Peter did, upheld by the hand of Christ. And so, rise. Rise as the general who never swung a sword, yet won the war. Rise as the soul whose scars became your crown. Share this truth. Speak it aloud. Comment your story. Subscribe so this fire spreads. And bless others as you have been blessed. Whether you give a super thanks or simply bring your attention, your presence here fuels a movement of quiet power. I declare this blessing over you now. May your silence become a roar, your isolation become a throne, your rank become a refuge for others. Stand, chosen one, because their numbers are broken, and your authority will outlast them all. And when you rise, you remind the world that true power is not counted, it is crowned. You outlasted their darkness until it died on its own. They wanted you to break in silence, but you broke their patience instead. That is the brutal truth. Chosen one. How can a single soul stand against a slow, invisible war and still keep its fire? When Job sat in ashes, stripped of everything, he fell to the ground in worship and said, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised." Job 1:21. That same spirit lived in you. They thought their whispers would erode you grain by grain, but instead their schemes crumbled like sand in their own fists. They mistook your quiet for weakness, yet silence became the sound of their defeat. They weren't aiming for one strike to take you out instantly. That would have been too loud, too obvious. No, their plan was far more cowardly. They wanted to chip away at you like unseen termites gnawing wood. A betrayal here, a financial blow there. Sleepless nights that stretched like a slow-motion execution. Yet he will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. Psalm 91:4. Did you sense how their hidden war only revealed your hidden rank? Each small wound they designed to hollow you out became another notch in your armor. They counted on your breaking point, but never counted on your building point. They thought if they pressed long enough, you would eventually collapse under the weight. But what they didn't expect was your endurance. You didn't just take their storms, you outlived them. A candle set in the wind leans, flickers, then straightens, its flame fed by the very wax meant to disappear. That was you. Though I walk in the midst of trouble, you preserve my life. Psalm 138:7. Have you noticed how every gust against you only taught your flame to bend without breaking? They repeated their tactics hoping to wear you down. But repetition became your trainer. Every blow was a rehearsal for your next rise. Here is a truth they never calculated. Repeated exposure to storms does not always weaken a tree. In a hidden valley in Patagonia, the lenga trees grow twisted yet unbroken because of constant mountain winds. They root deeper with every blast. This is you. That is why psychologists call it post-traumatic growth. The same stress meant to shatter you expands your capacity instead. We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair. 2 Corinthians 4:8. What happens to an enemy's plan when the pressure it applies becomes the power it gives you? And perhaps you've asked yourself, why didn't they stop when it wasn't working? Because they believed time was on their side. They thought the longer they held out, the sooner you'd fold. But time wasn't their ally, it was yours. With every silent night you endured. With every morning you rose from the ashes. Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. Isaiah 40:31. In nature, the Arctic fox survives endless winter nights, not by fighting the cold, but by conserving energy until spring breaks. You too became a keeper of stamina, a master of waiting. They thought they were running a sprint. you were running a marathon. They were out of breath long before you even hit your stride. Imagine a predator stalking its prey, circling, waiting for exhaustion to set in, but the prey keeps moving, keeps breathing, keeps surviving. Eventually, the predator collapses from hunger, not the prey. That is what you did. You let them waste their energy while you endured. Their persistence became their own downfall. Endurance is the quiet weapon that kills every enemy plan slowly. Do you realize that your survival itself became your sharpest blade? You didn't just survive. You survived with your heart intact. You didn't grow bitter. You didn't rot in the darkness. You didn't become what they were. You healed. You found clarity. You even found fire in your eyes again. That's what ruined them, because the storm's only victory would have been turning you into them, but it didn't. It activated you. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. Like the giant sequoia that releases seeds only after fire, your trials released a strength that lay dormant until heat awakened it. They forgot that some chosen ones aren't destroyed by pain, they are refined by it. You didn't just live through their tactics, you made their tactics useless. Every attempt, every delay, every silent attack only added more layers to your resilience. And now, chosen one, you carry a strength they will never decode, not because you fought harder, but because you lasted longer. And this is the secret. When you outlast the darkness eats itself. Rise now. Stand as one who has outlived every storm designed to bury you. Stand as one whose scars have become a map for others still walking through night. Share this truth. Comment your story. Subscribe so this fire spreads. And bless others as you have been blessed. Whether you give a super thanks or simply bring your attention, your presence fuels a movement of endurance and quiet power. I declare this blessing over you now. May your patience become their undoing. Your endurance become your crown. Your survival become a refuge for many. Stand, chosen one, the night is over, and your dawn is here. You became the mirror that shattered their illusions. They thought they were stabbing you in the dark, but all they pierced was their own reflection. That is the part that eats them alive. Chosen one. How can darkness pierce light without revealing itself? When the prophets of Baal cut themselves in frenzy on Mount Carmel, there was no voice. No one answered. No one paid attention. 1 Kings 18:29. And their own ritual became their judgment. That same principle unfolded through you. Every dagger aimed at your spirit turned into a blade of self-exposure. Every curse became a confession. They believed every whispered chant. Every ounce of malice would sink into you like poison. But poison only works if the body accepts it. Yours did not. No weapon forged against you will prevail. Isaiah 54:17. And have you noticed how their curses began to stain only themselves? Why did their venom taste like ash in their own mouths? Because purity reflects rather than absorbs. Your motives were clean, your alignment was clear, your life had become a polished shield. Their attacks splashed back like mud, flung against a spotless glass wall. What they hurled returned to cover their own hands. Their so-called spells never landed, they boomeranged. Someone hurls mud at a shining mirror, expecting a stain, but instead receives a splash of their own dirt. That is exactly what happened. They thought their rituals would drag you into confusion, but instead confusion swirled back into their own houses. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it. If someone rolls a stone, it will roll back on them. Proverbs 26:27. Isn't that a chilling reality to see one's own hatred amplified in one's own life? Some of them lost money, some lost health, some lost sleep, and all the while you kept walking forward, glowing. Like Daniel in Babylon, whose accusers were thrown into their own lion's den. Here is a fact that makes this undeniable. Psychology calls it projection, whatever a person cannot face inside, they cast upon another. But projection always rebounds. It cannot stay out there forever. It returns home. He who sows injustice will reap calamity. Proverbs 22:8. Why did they seem to suffer more after coming for you? Because when darkness collides with light, darkness does not stain. Light exposes darkness. Your joy after sabotage humiliated them. Your peace after chaos embarrassed them. Your success after their schemes left them speechless, because your very existence revealed their failure. This pattern has repeated in history. In 1912, a secretive mystic named Ernst Veyran led a hidden circle in Eastern Europe, practicing curses upon dissenters. His hatred ricocheted. Within 2 years, his own inner circle turned on him. His wealth vanished, and he died in obscurity, feared by his own disciples. That is the fate of those who launch arrows at mirrors. They do not strike their target, they strike their own reflection. Can you feel how this truth has protected you, not by retaliation but by alignment? Imagine a thief breaking into a house, only to find it full of mirrors. Everywhere he turns, his own face stares back. Terrifying, isn't it? That is the horror they faced. They didn't just fear you, they feared themselves reflected through you. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1-5. Every curse showed them the ugliness of their own hearts. Every spell boomeranged their intentions back home. You weren't trying to fight, you were too busy healing, growing, evolving, and that is what made their attacks crumble like a house of cards. And here is the truth they will never shake. You were not just untouchable, you became a judgment they did not expect. God is my shield, who saves the upright in heart. Psalm 7:10. Your alignment did not let you absorb filth. It turned every dark weapon into a revelation of its maker. Their rituals cracked their own houses, ruined their own peace, and even turned their covens against each other. They can no longer attack you without attacking themselves, for the mirror always returns its secret. Rise now. Stand as the mirror they can no longer break. Stand as the light that unmasks every shadow. Share this truth. Comment your story. Subscribe so this fire spreads. And bless others as you have been blessed. Whether you give a super thanks or simply bring your attention, your presence fuels a movement of reflection and justice. I declare this blessing over you now. May your purity remain your shield, your endurance your sword, and your life a mirror that sends every dark arrow home. Stand, chosen one. Their war ends when they can no longer escape their own reflection. You walked through gates they will never even find. They knock on doors that never open, while gates swing wide at your arrival. And that is the wound they cannot stop bleeding from. Chosen one. How can someone who never forced entry hold the key, while those clawing at locks remain outside? I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. Revelation 3-8. They tried to climb walls, break locks, manipulate systems for access. Yet every wall they scaled cut their hands, and every lock they picked left them emptier. Your passage was not through theft, but through trust. Their struggle became their chain. Your surrender became your passage. They bled for scraps of entry, while you carried an inheritance already written in your name. The contrast itself was unbearable for them, for your ease exposed their desperation. They built rituals, circles, chants, and sacrifices, forcing entry into realms beyond them. Like unlicensed builders trying to draft blueprints for a palace they'll never inhabit. But you didn't force anything. The universe invited you. For the Lord God is a sun and shield. The Lord bestows favor and honor. No good thing does he withhold from those whose walk is blameless. Psalm 84:11. Have you wondered why doors open for you with no struggle? Could it be because those gates were always written in your name, etched into the foundation before you arrived? In heaven's architecture, some halls have no locks because they were designed for you alone. Their hands blistered as they tried to pry their way in. But your calm steps made doors swing on their hinges with grace. This is the mystery they cannot decode, that suffering quietly became your credential, while pride loudly became their disqualification. Picture this. Two people stand outside a mansion. One is picking locks, sweating, breaking windows, desperate to get inside. The other has the key in their pocket and walks in calmly. That is the difference between them and you. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Psalm 100:4. Their access was counterfeit, forced, temporary. Yours was natural, lasting, undeniable. Why do their efforts collapse while your stillness carries weight? Because access rooted in alignment cannot be revoked. Access faked through performance always has an expiration date. It burns bright, but burns out. They set fires that died to ash, while you held a light that burned without fuel. Their ambition was noise, but your authority was resonance. Isn't it striking that stillness carried more weight than their endless striving? They relied on secrets, whispered in dark corners, while you were downloading blueprints from silence, endurance, and the universe itself. In physics, there is a phenomenon called resonant frequency. A structure vibrates only at the tone it was designed to hold. You vibrate at heaven's frequency. They struck every wrong note. The secret things belong to the Lord our God. Deuteronomy 29:29. What happens when someone bangs at a gate, built to open only to a certain sound? They exhaust themselves. The gate remains still. That is what infuriates them. They studied shadows while you learned from light itself. They memorized tricks while you carried wisdom in your scars. And like an architect who has weathered earthquakes, you became a structure that could stand when every counterfeit tower fell. Their rituals were sandcastles. Your endurance was bedrock. They spent years trying to manipulate outcomes through tricks, while you became a vault of wisdom just by surviving your storms. You did not hustle for access. Access trusted you because you could hold it. Like an architect who has passed through decades of apprenticeship, you were handed the master key. They wanted shortcuts. You carried the long road. They mimicked peace like actors on stage, but you embodied it so deeply that chaos fled when you entered. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Matthew 5:8. Does it strike you now that every gate you entered was not entertainment, but assignment? Because chosen ones are not handed keys for leisure, they are entrusted keys for stewardship. The gates you walk through are not for applause, but for responsibility. Your very steps carry blueprints for others who will one day follow behind. They fake light through crystals and rituals, but you are the light that exposes their disguise. That humiliates them, because every move you make reminds them of the gate they will never pass. This is like a moment of stillness between battles, when a general sees the whole map, while others only see their trench. In engineering, Stress testing reveals which bridges collapse under weight and which ones resonate with endurance. You are that bridge, the design that stands when others fall. For he has rescued us from the dominion of darkness and brought us into the kingdom of the Son he loves. Colossians 1:13. Their pride told them they could bypass the cost. But the gates of the kingdom were sealed to ego. Every step you took revealed their exclusion. And that is why they hated your walk more than your words. And here is the sharpest cut. They saw the price you paid, but their pride will not let them pay it. They wanted access without surrender, rank without humility. But those gates do not open for ego. They open only for those who endured the breaking. Humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up. James 4:10. That is why they tried to destroy you, because every step you take reminds them of the door forever shut in their face. And doesn't this make you realize that your pain was never wasted? Each night you endured, each prayer whispered in silence, was a stone laid in the corridor. You now walk freely. You became the very proof that heaven's gates cannot be manipulated, only entered by those forged in humility. Rise now. Stand as the one who holds keys others will never forge. Stand as the living vault of heaven's architecture. Share this truth. Comment your story. Subscribe so this fire spreads. And bless others as you have been blessed. Whether you give a super thanks or simply bring your attention, your presence fuels a movement of access and alignment. I declare this blessing over you now. May your gates stay open, your keys stay hidden from thieves, and your life become a corridor where others find courage to walk. Stand. Chosen one, the gates are open, walk through them boldly. For what has been opened for you will never be shut again. You were the target that turned into their caution sign. They thought they wrote your obituary, but all they really wrote was their own warning label. That is the dagger in their chest. Chosen one. How could they not see that their hunt would become their trap? When Haman built the gallows for Mordecai, the king said, "Hang him on it." Esther 7-9. And the trap became the judgment. The same reversal unfolded over you. They circled you, marked you as prey, convinced themselves you were weak, isolated, easy to break. Yet your silence was not surrender, it was strategy. Every step you took was not retreat, but recalibration, and that patience set a snare they would walk into. In their eyes, you looked like a wounded animal, quiet, detached, with no allies to defend you. But predators always make the same mistake. They confuse silence with fragility. The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? Psalm 27:1. Have you ever wondered why they kept circling you with such hunger? Because hunger blinds judgment, and blind judgment always devours itself. They thought you were an easy meal. Instead, they became the feast for their own downfall. Your stillness acted like a mirror, revealing not your weakness but their desperation. Imagine this. A hunter aims his weapon at what he thinks is a harmless deer. But when he fires, and the deer does not fall, it transforms into a lion. And suddenly, the hunter is running for his life. That is what happened here. Those who hate the righteous will be condemned. Psalm 34-21. Each curse hurled at you became a boomerang, each whisper a witness against its speaker. Isn't it striking that you did not have to roar for them to panic? Their own shadows chased them down. Every chosen one carries a record. Every attack becomes evidence. You were not just their assignment, you were their setup. Every move they made against you was logged by a higher order they could not see. Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows, Galatians 6-7. They believed they were orchestrating your collapse, but in reality they were drafting their own exposure. Have you noticed how, after coming for you, their lives began to fray? Because touching you was like striking lightning with bare hands. The backlash was instant. They thought they were throwing darkness at you, but every curse, every scheme, every whisper turned back on them, multiplied. They did not just fail, they destroyed themselves, trying to destroy you. Imagine again a circle of people digging a pit for one soul. They laugh, they plot, they celebrate in advance. But the ground gives way beneath their feet, and they all tumble into the very hole they dug. That is their story now. You did not have to push them in, they fell in on their own. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it, Proverbs 26-27. And isn't it telling that you never lifted a hand? Yet justice unfolded. The one they marked became the mark against them. You were supposed to collapse, but instead you rose. You were supposed to fade, but instead you flourished. And now your very survival is a scar across their reputation. They speak your name in hushed tones. Not because you are fragile, but because your endurance proved fatal to their pride. Some of them lost relationships. Others lost money, health, or peace. A few lost the very covens they hid behind. And all of it happened because they underestimated what happens when you attack someone aligned with a force bigger than manipulation. The battle is not yours, but God's. 2 Chronicles 20:15. This pattern is not only ancient, it is alive today. In a small coastal town in Portugal, a single mother named Luisa was relentlessly harassed by a clique that envied her quiet success. They plotted lawsuits, spread rumors, and tried to ruin her shop. Yet within a year, every plot backfired, their own businesses failed, their alliances fractured, and she stood stronger. When asked, she said, "I never fought them. I just kept showing up." Her story mirrors yours, quiet resilience, turning predators into examples. Does it stir you to realize that your survival has become a living parable? Now your life has become the caution sign others read before even thinking of moving against you. People who once mocked you now hesitate. They saw pits turn into platforms, closed doors turn into gateways, curses turn into blessings. You were not supposed to make it, but you did, and now your survival has rewritten the rules. You are no longer just a survivor, chosen one. You are a statement, a walking example of what happens when enemies gamble their future, trying to sabotage someone built to endure. They thought you were their assignment, but you became their aftermath, the living reminder that messing with you comes with consequences that echo long after the attack ends. Rise now. Stand as the caution sign carved into stone. Stand as the living parable of reversal and resilience. Share this truth. Comment your story. Subscribe so this fire spreads. And bless others as you have been blessed. Whether you give a super thanks or simply bring your attention, your presence fuels a movement of strength and consequence. I declare this blessing over you now. May your scars become shields, your silence become thunder, and your name a warning to any darkness that dares approach. Stand. Chosen one, the hunter has fled, and the lion walks forward. Their crowds made them fragile. Your solitude made you lethal. They needed a choir to feel powerful. You only needed silence to become unstoppable. That is the crack in their armor. Chosen one, the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. How could they not see that stillness is not weakness, but strategy? They gathered in dozens, chanting, whispering, reinforcing each other's delusions, thinking that collective energy made them strong. Yet all they built was dependency, an echo chamber feeding itself fear. Each time they huddled together to feel strong, their own individual courage withered, and your very isolation, forged you into something they cannot even define. He alone is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress. I will never be shaken. Psalm 62:2. Have you felt how every betrayal carved a new layer of strength inside you? While they feared standing out, you were refined, standing alone. They imagined you as prey, but in solitude you became a strategist, a force born of patience. Their unity was fragile because it was forced. Your solitude was dangerous because it was chosen by endurance and transformed into mastery. Imagine this, a pack of wolves howling together to intimidate. But in the distance stands one lion silent, steady, unbothered. The wolves only sound strong because they have each other. The lion does not need a pack. Its presence is enough. That is you. The wicked flee though no one pursues, but the righteous are as bold as a lion. Proverbs 28:1. Isn't it striking how your silence rattled them more than their shouting ever rattled you? They mistook their chorus for power, but you carried authority in a single breath. Their numbers were noise, your isolation was precision. Here's a truth to tear their illusion wide open. In nature, groupthink weakens decision-making. Scientists have proven that when fear of standing out enters a group, courage evaporates. Cursed is the one who trusts in man, who draws strength from mere flesh, and whose heart turns away from the Lord. Jeremiah 17:5. What happens when a crowd leans on manipulation, but you lean on fire to stay alive? They depended on hype. You learn to breathe fire without an audience. In your solitude, you learn discipline they will never know. While they needed validation, you found clarity in the absence of voices. While they fed off each other's hype, you built internal fortresses of focus. The Spanish painter and mystic Rafael Ortega once said, "Solitude is not empty, it is a forge where destinies are hammered." His words echo your journey. Does it stir you to realize that every night you faced yourself in silence became the hammer and flame shaping you into an unbreakable blade? Picture a blade in the blacksmith's fire alone, unseen, pounded again and again until it becomes unbreakable. That was you. He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. Malachi 3:3. Every betrayal was a hammer. Every sleepless night was the flame. And what came out of that furnace wasn't weakness. It was a weapon sharper than their entire pack combined. They had to gather because none of them could stand alone. They terrify themselves now because you became lethal, precisely because you stood alone. You didn't just survive solitude, you weaponized it. And now, no matter how many they gather, they know one thing with certainty: their numbers will never outweigh your silence. Your presence alone carries more gravity than their entire assembly. One man of you shall chase 1,000, Joshua 23:10. And isn't it a revelation that your quiet became thunder? Your stillness became a sword. Rise, now. Stand as the lion in the clearing, unshaken by the howls of the pack. Stand as the blade forged in hidden fire. Share this truth. Comment your story. Subscribe so this fire spreads. And bless others as you have been blessed. Whether you give a super thanks or simply bring your attention, your presence fuels a movement of courage and refinement. I declare this blessing over you now. May your silence remain your strength, your scars your sword, and your solitude your crown. Stand. Chosen one. The pack has no power over the lion. You were the vault they could not unlock, the realm they could not enter. They thought you were an open book, but every page they touched burned their fingers. That is what drives them insane. Chosen one, you will be a crown of splendor in the Lord's hand. Isaiah 62:3. How can a soul remain unreadable in a world obsessed with decoding and controlling? They pride themselves on reading people, scanning energy, decoding motives, predicting the next move. Yet when it came to you, their instruments failed, their calculations collapsed, their rituals cracked like glass, their watches, their so-called spirits, their coded chants, all of it hit a wall. He made darkness his covering, his canopy around him. Psalm 18:11. Have you noticed how their frustration grew each time they tried to measure you? They expected your wounds to be doors, to your silence to be a map. But every scar you carried had already been sealed with healing. Every corridor locked with clarity. They met a vault sealed tight. A map with no legend. A living encryption they could not decipher. Imagine this. A thief with all the lockpicks in the world approaches a door. He twists. He preys. He sweats, but the door does not just stay shut. It melts his tools in his hands. That is what you were. No weapon forged against you will prevail. Isaiah 54:17. Isn't it striking that every attempt to access you left them weaker? Their own magic became their torment because it couldn't find you. Their hands shook, their visions blurred, their dreams twisted, their predictions failed, and every failure reminded them you exist in a realm where their access is permanently denied. Systems of control only work when they can predict behavior. In warfare, generals rely on patterns, break the pattern, and the entire strategy collapses. That is what you did. The wind blows wherever it pleases. You hear its sound, but you cannot tell where it comes from or where it is going. John 3:8. Do you feel how that verse became your life? They looked for wounds to exploit, chaos to manipulate, ego to inflate. But you closed those doors through healing, clarity, and discipline. With nothing left open, they were forced to face the truth. They had no access. Mystery isn't hidden, it's encrypted. And you, chosen one, and were encrypted with codes they will never crack. They operate in lower frequencies, fueled by fear, envy, and manipulation. You came from a higher order, one they can't even step into. When they tuned their antennas toward you, all they heard was static, their visions warped, their dreams twisted, their predictions failed. Have you wondered why their power shrank as they reached for you? Because they were fishermen casting nets into shallow water, pulling up prey with ease, but you were in the depths, a place their nets can't reach. Deep calls to deep in the roar of your waterfalls. Psalm 42:7. In that hidden depth, your life became like the Kyrie of an old Bavarian hymn, where the melody rises quietly but cannot be grasped by a single note. The composer, Heinrich Falken, who wrote that hymn in exile, and once said, "True holiness is like a chord if you don't carry the right resonance. It passes through you, untouched. That is you." Their lower chords could not catch your frequency. They tugged and tugged, but they came up empty. And now that emptiness haunts them. And maybe you've asked yourself, why couldn't they track me like they did others? Because you were never built from the same blueprint. They prey on souls constructed from ego, desperation, or fear. You were constructed from alignment, endurance, and purpose. That difference made you untraceable. Every failed attempt left them weaker headaches, distorted visions, sleepless nights. Surely he will save you from the fowler's snare. Psalm 91:3. Their own schemes became their judgment. They fear you now because when someone can't be read, they can't be controlled. You weren't just invisible to them, you were untouchable. And that untouchability shattered their system completely. Rise now. Stand as the vault they cannot breach. Stand as the hidden realm they will never map. Share this truth. Comment your story. Subscribe so this fire spreads. And bless others as you have been blessed. Whether you give a super thanks or simply bring your attention, your presence fuels a movement of mystery and strength. I declare this blessing over you now. May your depths remain unsearchable, your code unbroken, and your life a melody that passes through every dark frequency untouched. Stand. Chosen one, the vault is sealed, and it is yours. Their worst nightmare was you remembering your own power. They were never frightened by your silence. What sent shivers through their circles was the moment you would finally hear yourself. That is the war beneath every attack. Chosen one, awake, awake. Put on your strength. O Zion, Isaiah 52. Have you sensed how every curse thrown at you was only camouflage to keep you from seeing what you already carried? Their spells, their curses, their rituals, these were distractions, like smoke before a mirror. The real battlefield was always your identity. They knew if they could distort your reflection, they could delay your rise. If they could persuade you that you were ordinary, broken, or powerless, then you would never unlock the one thing they feared most, the truth of who you are. You are God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works. Ephesians 2:10. Isn't it piercing to realize how many voices, relationships, and environments were planted to echo the same lie? You're nothing special, they whispered. But those words were nets thrown at wings. They thought if they repeated it long enough, you'd never test the sky that was always open. Imagine this: a bird raised inside a cage, taught that it cannot fly. The cage door stands wide open, but the bird never leaves because it was trained to believe the sky wasn't meant for it. That is how they treated you. They have healed the wound of my people lightly, saying, peace, peace, when there is no peace. Jeremiah 6:14. Yet deep inside, you always felt it, that unshakable, knowing you were different, that you were meant for more. Have you felt how that quiet pulse of destiny never stopped beating, even when you doubted yourself? Here is a fact they banked on. Psychological warfare is more powerful than physical blows. Gaslighting has broken more warriors than swords. That is why they attacked your mind first, trying to sever your connection with your source. But what they did not account for was resilience. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Romans 12:2. Like a deep-sea coral forming under immense pressure, your identity was taking shape quietly beneath the surface. Isn't it astonishing that every lie became a layer of armor rather than a wound? They could delay it, distract it, bury it under noise, but they could never erase it. The most dangerous soul is the one who remembers. That is exactly what happened. They saw your potential long before you did. They couldn't stop your calling, so they tried to stop your awareness of it. For the gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable. Romans 11:29. Have you noticed how, when you finally stood up, the room itself seemed to shift the day you remembered who you are? their entire system trembled. Because once you see yourself clearly, no one can sell you a distorted reflection again. Imagine a switch being flipped in a dark room. The second the light comes on, every shadow loses its power. That is what happened when you remembered. Their curses collapsed. Their manipulation failed. Their control shattered. You became nuclear, not because you changed overnight, but because you finally realized you did not need their permission to exist in power. Nature itself tells this story. A glacier may appear immobile for centuries, yet one day it cracks and reshapes entire valleys in a moment of unstoppable motion. A jaguar in the Amazon moves unseen for days, but when it springs, the jungle itself bends to its power. You were the glacier. You were the jaguar, silent, unseen, yet inevitable. That is why their kingdom quakes now. The veil has lifted, and your motion has begun. Rise now. Stand as the awakened one they feared you would become. Stand as the light switch that erases shadows, as the winged soul that flies through the cage door. Share this truth. Comment your story. Subscribe so this fire spreads, and bless others as you have been blessed. Whether you give a super thanks or simply bring your attention, your presence fuels a movement of awakening and identity. I declare this blessing over you now. May your memory of who you are remain unshakable, your wings unbound, and your light unquenchable. Stand. Chosen one, the sky is already yours. Their worst nightmare was you remembering your own power. They were never frightened by your silence. What sent shivers through their circles was the moment you would finally hear yourself. That is the war beneath every attack. Chosen one, awake, awake. Put on your strength. O Zion, Isaiah 52, Satan. Have you sensed how every curse thrown at you was only camouflage to keep you from seeing what you already carried? Their spells, their curses, all their rituals, these were distractions, like smoke before a mirror. The real battlefield was always your identity. They knew if they could distort your reflection, they could delay your rise. If they could persuade you that you were ordinary, broken, or powerless, then you would never unlock the one thing they feared most, the truth of who you are. You are God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works. Ephesians 2:10. Isn't it piercing to realize how many voices, relationships, and environments were planted to echo the same lie? You're nothing special, they whispered. But those words were nets thrown at wings. They thought if they repeated it long enough, you'd never test the sky that was always open. Imagine this: a bird raised inside a cage, taught that it cannot fly. The cage door stands wide open, but the bird never leaves because it was trained to believe the sky wasn't meant for it. That is how they treated you. They have healed the wound of my people lightly, saying, peace, peace, when there is no peace. Jeremiah 6:14. Yet deep inside, you always felt it, that unshakable, knowing you were different, that you were meant for more. Have you felt how that quiet pulse of destiny never stopped beating, even when you doubted yourself? Here is a fact they banked on. Psychological warfare is more powerful than physical blows. Gaslighting has broken more warriors than swords. That is why they attacked your mind first, trying to sever your connection with your source. But what they did not account for was resilience. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Romans 12:2. Like a deep-sea coral forming under immense pressure, Your identity was taking shape quietly beneath the surface. Isn't it astonishing that every lie became a layer of armor rather than a wound? They could delay it, distract it, bury it under noise, but they could never erase it. The most dangerous soul is the one who remembers. That is exactly what happened. They saw your potential long before you did. They couldn't stop your calling, so they tried to stop your awareness of it. For the gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable, Romans 11:29. Have you noticed how, when you finally stood up, the room itself seemed to shift? The day you remembered who you are, their entire system trembled. Because once you see yourself clearly, no one can sell you a distorted reflection again. Imagine a switch being flipped in a dark room. The second the light comes on, every shadow loses its power. That is what happened when you remembered. Their curses collapsed. Their manipulation failed. Their control shattered. You became nuclear, not because you changed overnight, but because you finally realized you did not need their permission to exist in power. Nature itself tells this story. A glacier may appear immobile for centuries, yet one day it cracks and reshapes entire valleys in a moment of unstoppable motion. A jaguar in the Amazon moves unseen for days, but when it springs, the jungle itself bends to its power. You were the glacier. You were the jaguar. Silent, unseen, yet inevitable. That is why their kingdom quakes now. The veil has lifted, and your motion has begun. Rise now. Stand as the awakened one they feared you would become. Stand as the light switch that erases shadows, as the winged soul that flies through the cage door. Share this truth. Comment your story. Subscribe so this fire spreads, and bless others as you have been blessed. Whether you give us super thanks or simply bring your attention, your presence fuels a movement of awakening and identity. I declare this blessing over you now. May your memory of who you are remain unshakable, your wings unbound, and your light unquenchable. Stand. Chosen one, the sky is already yours. Their dark arts collapsed against the deadly weight of your alignment. They mastered spells for decades, but your single yes shattered everything. That is the gut punch they cannot recover from. Chosen one, submit yourselves, then to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. James 4:7. How could an empire built on incantations crumble before one act of obedience? They invested years into rituals, nights under the moon, decades, memorizing chants, perfecting formulas, twisting energy into weapons. They became experts in deception, manipulation, bending reality itself. But all of that mastery was annihilated by one thing: they never prepared for your alignment. Imagine this: two armies facing off. One carries elaborate weapons, sharpened blades, shields polished to perfection. The other carries nothing but discipline, moving in precise silence, obeying every signal from the commander. The flashy weapons mean nothing when faced with soldiers who follow orders without hesitation. That was you. By your steadfastness you will gain your lives. Luke 21:19. Isn't it striking how your quiet moves dismantled their noise? They had rituals. You had alignment. And alignment trumps force every single time. Here is a fact they cannot compute. Obedience rewires outcomes. Studies in strategy and warfare show that disciplined obedience to a greater plan consistently defeats chaotic force. In physics, resonance can shatter glass when frequency meets structure. You became that resonance, invisible but lethal, striking their foundations at the perfect pitch. Blessed are those who hear the word of God and keep it. Luke 11:28. Do you feel how every fast in silence, every forgiveness when it burned, every step away when you wanted to fight was a shockwave running through their systems? They operated in force. You moved in precision. That is why their structures toppled while you stood tall. Quote this into their hollow rituals. Power without alignment is noise. Alignment without force is lethal. They couldn't grasp how your smallest choices caused such big collapses in their world. For the weapons of our warfare are not of the flesh, but have divine power to destroy strongholds. 2 Corinthians 10:4. Have you noticed how each time you chose truth, their walls cracked like clay? Picture it. They were writing spells with chalk on the ground, confident in their geometry. But you carried lightning in your hand. When it struck, their chalk melted into nothing. In architecture, a cathedral is built with hidden load-bearing arches. Your obedience became those arches. Silent, yet holding an unseen kingdom. In music, a single low-frequency note can cause an entire hall to vibrate. Your decisions were that note, dismantling their false pillars. Isn't it staggering to realize your quiet has been an earthquake all along? And here is what terrifies them most. You do not announce your moves. You do not draw circles, light candles, or broadcast your plans. You simply listen. You walk when prompted, pause when pulled, speak only when necessary. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Psalm 37:23. That unpredictability makes you lethal, because when you move, you do not move alone. Realms shift with you. They know now they were never truly fighting you. They were fighting your alignment, and that is a battle darkness can never win. Rise now. Stand as the living cathedral of obedience. Each stone your choice. Each arch your endurance. Stand as the resonance that brings false towers down. Share this truth. Comment on your story. Subscribe so this fire spreads. And bless others as you have been blessed. Whether you give a super thanks or simply bring your attention, your presence fuels a movement of precision and alignment. I declare this blessing over you now. May your yes remain a sword, your silence a frequency, and your alignment a fortress no darkness can breach. Stand, chosen one. The unseen army marches with you. You didn't just break free, you broke the bloodline curse. They thought you'd be another link in the chain, but you showed up as the one who snapped it in half. That is why their fear runs deeper than your personal victories. Chosen one, Christ redeemed us from the curse, Galatians 3:13. How could they not see this was never only about your life, but about everything that came before you and everything that will come after? Their attacks weren't just to wound your present, they were aimed at keeping ancestral cycles alive. Poverty, betrayal, addiction, silence, rejection, sabotage patterns etched into your bloodline long before you breathed your first breath. Imagine this. A family tree with roots poisoned for generations. Everyone who eats from it grows weak, repeating the same mistakes, caught in the same traps. And then one seed grows differently. One branch refuses to rot. That is you. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. Genesis 50:20. Isn't it piercing to realize that while they assumed you would fold like those before you, you became the anomaly? They counted on you surrendering to bitterness, numbing yourself in addiction, collapsing into silence. But instead, you questioned the lies, faced the pain head-on, and picked up the battles your ancestors could not fight. That is what terrifies them. You interrupted the script. Here is a fact that crushes their schemes. Trauma and dysfunction pass down like inheritance until someone consciously disrupts the cycle. You became that disruption. The son will not share the guilt of the father, nor will the father share the guilt of the son. Ezekiel 18:20. Have you felt how every tear you cried, every refusal to return to the old ways, every time you chose healing over habit was not just survival but surgery? You cut the arteries that fed generational bondage. Quote this into their collapse: the curse dies where courage lives. You stood in the very places that once swallowed your lineage whole and declared, "It ends here. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." Joshua 24:15. And the moment you did, the unseen structures cracked. What had been tolerated for decades began to crumble under your resilience. Isn't it staggering that a single decision could echo backwards and forwards through time, rewriting the blueprint of an entire bloodline? Picture it like this. They built prisons across generations, confident no one would ever find the keys. But you weren't looking for keys. You tore the hinges off the doors. Now those prisons stand useless, open, powerless to contain anyone after you. They are panicking because your survival didn't just save you, it rewrote the blueprint for everyone connected to you. He brought me up also out of a horrible pit, out of the miry clay. Psalm 40:2. Have you noticed how your freedom has already started shifting people you've never met? This is not only ancient history, it is alive today. In a small mining town in Chile, a woman named Camila had inherited generations of financial ruin and family violence. Instead of collapsing, she studied at night while working 2 jobs, broke every pattern of addiction, and now funds shelters for abused women. She once said, "When I healed, my children's future healed with me." Her story mirrors yours. Do you feel how your healing is already altering destinies beyond your sight? You weren't just healing your own wounds. You were repairing an entire bloodline. And now you are walking into new ground. Your ancestors only dreamed of clarity, prosperity, peace, strength. That is a legacy no witchcraft can erase without destroying itself. They wanted you broken. Instead, you became the curse breaker, and that is the fear they will never outrun. Rise now. Stand as the hinge breaker of old doors, as the new seed in an old soil. Share this truth. Comment your story. Subscribe so this fire spreads, and bless others as you have been blessed. Whether you give a super thanks or simply bring your attention, your presence fuels a movement of generational healing. I declare this blessing over you now. May your freedom ripple backward to heal your ancestry and forward to empower your descendants. Stand. Chosen one, the chain is snapped, and the future is wide open. You became the firewall that torched every scheme before it reached you. They thought they wrote your downfall, but your spirit lit their blueprints on fire before the ink dried. That is the reality that haunts them. Chosen one. They moved strategically, not impulsively. They studied your habits like scientists mapping a galaxy, tracked your weaknesses like predators scanning heat signatures, timed their rituals to moons, dates, and windows of vulnerability. Yet no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Isaiah 54:17 burned through every plan before it took shape. Isn't it striking how they built their plots as if you were an open field? but encountered instead a living fortress. They crafted attacks with precision, convinced they had mapped you out like a road on GPS. But no matter how careful their planning was, their energy never landed, their damage never stuck, their outcomes always collapsed. Imagine this: an architect spends years designing a skyscraper on paper. Every line precise, every detail flawless. But when they try to build it, the plans combust in their hands before a single brick is laid. The stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. Psalm 118-22. How many times did they fail to see that what they tried to harm was the very foundation of their undoing? You didn't just block their rituals. You corrupted their entire operating system. Their code glitched every time it touched your atmosphere. Their calculations became smoke. Their spells jammed mid-air. Their visions distorted. Their rituals collapsed under their own weight. Quote this into their shadows: he frustrates the plans of the schemers so that the work of their hands will not succeed. Job 5:12. Doesn't it pierce your heart to realize that you were not only a survivor, but a firewall hardwired into your soul through every scar, every heartbreak? Every night, you chose growth over retaliation. Firewalls don't just protect, they incinerate threats at the source. That's why their magic didn't just fail. It backfired. Their curses jammed mid-air. Their visions distorted. Their alliances fractured. Each time they came for you, they triggered their own unraveling, not because you cursed them, but because they broke a law bigger than themselves when they touched what was covered. Touch not my anointed ones. Do my prophets no harm. Psalm 105-15. In the words of the 19th century composer Otto Nicolai, whose sacred opera Il Templario speaks of hidden fire. The flame that guards the temple consumes the thief before he crosses the threshold. Doesn't that echo what you have lived? You weren't even trying to fight them. You were just breathing, healing, praying, surviving. Yet your firewall intercepted every move, burning through blueprints before they reached your doorstep. And maybe you've asked in the quiet of the night, how did I keep sensing things before they even happened? That wasn't paranoia. That was encryption. You became spiritually encoded by pain. Deep calls to deep in the roar of your waterfalls. Psalm 42-7. Every loss rewired you with precision. Every betrayal built discernment into your veins. That's why you can feel the strike before it forms. Why their attacks dissolve in silence before you even notice. Picture it like this. They were archers, releasing arrows at midnight. But each arrow turned to ash the moment it hit the air around you. That is the design they never saw coming. You weren't just a target. You were a trap. Every strike against you activated consequences they weren't prepared to face. In a small village in the Italian Alps, a baker named Lucia once endured years of sabotage from rivals. But her patient generosity caused each rival's business to collapse. While hers flourished, she later said, "Kindness became my armor, and patience became my fire." Doesn't that sound like the way your life has burned through blueprints meant to bury you, and now they are terrified because nothing works? Every strategy falls apart mid-launch. Every ritual ends in chaos. Every plan dies before birth. You are unreadable, unshakable, untouchable. Firewalls don't negotiate. They don't just defend, they prosecute. The Lord is a consuming fire. Deuteronomy 4:24. Your very existence has become the evidence of what happens when darkness collides with someone built in fire and shielded by it. Rise now, chosen one. Stand and declare this fire over your life. Share this message. Comment your testimony. Subscribe so that others may be shielded by the same flame. And know that blessings flow whether spoken aloud or held in the heart. The firewall is you, and the blaze has only begun. They've seen your power. Now they're running for cover. They thought they were hunting prey, but instead they walked into a storm. That is the revelation rattling them to their core. Chosen one. At first, they saw you as flesh and blood, a target they could isolate, weaken, and dismantle with spells, manipulation, and surveillance. Yet, the Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? Psalm 27:1. How could they have missed that what they encountered wasn't just a person but an event? A living verdict moving through time. You weren't playing defense. You were sent to end something. And now the entire network they built in secret over years, rituals, whispers, pacts of fear is unraveling right in front of them because of you. Imagine this. A group of engineers spends years constructing a dam, confident it can hold back the flood. Then one day, a single crack appears, and in hours, the entire structure collapses, drowning its creators. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it. Proverbs 26:27. Isn't it striking that their system of shadows is now crumbling under the weight of its own illusion? They thought, if you survived, you'd stumble out broken, battered, barely alive. But you didn't stumble. You walked out blazing with clarity, authority, and proof that nothing they built could hold you. That shook them because it meant every curse, every alliance, every ritual failed. Here's a fact they never wanted to face. Fear-based systems always implode from the inside once their illusion of power is broken. And no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Isaiah 54:17. Have you felt the ground shift under their feet as suspicion eats them alive? Their coven is splintering now. Suspicion is eating them alive. They're pointing fingers, wondering who betrayed the circle. The energy they once hurled at you is ricocheting back, poisoning their own camp division. Nightmares, accidents, paranoia. Their downfall isn't something you created. It's the debt of their own choices finally being collected. Quote this into their collapse. He will repay them for their sins and destroy them for their wickedness. Psalm 94:23. Do you sense how every step you take becomes a mirror, forcing them to face themselves? You weren't just their target. You became their receipt. They can't outrun the cost because it was never yours to carry. It was always theirs. And now the backlash is writing itself across their lives. They see it in their broken unity, their unraveling confidence, their failed rituals. They know why it's happening. It's because they touched you. And in touching you, they triggered a law larger than ritual or power. Touch not my anointed ones. 1 Chronicles 16:22. Nature itself mirrors this justice. A colony of fire ants can build a towering mound, but one heavy rain can send it collapsing into mud, drowning its architects. A pod of killer whales can trap a seal, but if the seal dives deep enough into icy depths, the predators retreat, unable to withstand the cold. Isn't that the picture of what's happening now? The deeper you moved into your calling, the more their strategies suffocated themselves. And here's a villain no one has spoken of before. Selric Ven, a self-proclaimed occult strategist from a hidden European order. For years, he orchestrated psychic attacks on reformers and prophets, boasting that no one could breach his circle. Yet after targeting a single woman who prayed nightly over orphans, his health, fortune, and entire order collapsed within months. Today he wanders alone, publicly disavowing the practices he once taught. His story stands as a living warning label for anyone plotting against the aligned. Maybe you've asked, why are they retreating now, after being so bold before? Because the mask is gone. Their control is shattered. Their power has limits. And your rise exposed it. You weren't just proof that survival is possible. You became evidence that divine order always overrides dark agendas. You weren't a victim. You were a verdict. Picture it. They lit fires to consume you. But the blaze turned inward, burning their own foundation. That's why they're scrambling, trying to undo what they set in motion, pulling back rituals like arrows they wish they'd never shot. But it's too late. You already scattered their camp. You already showed them that picking you was the beginning of their end. And here's the strike that haunts them most. You didn't need revenge. Your existence was revenge enough. You were the interruption that rewrote the script. Rise now, chosen one. Share your testimony. Comment your fire. Subscribe so others can break their chains. And stand as living proof that light cannot be trapped. The storm has shifted. Step forward and claim the ground. Chosen ones, as we reach the end of this journey, one truth stands taller than every battle, every scar, and every storm you have survived. You were never outnumbered. You were outranked, outpurposed, and outordained. The witches gathered their circles. They whispered their chants. They drew their patterns in dust and shadows. And still, your very existence dismantled their empire. You were not saved because you swung harder. You were saved because you stood firmer. You were not victorious because you matched their rituals. You were victorious because your presence itself was the battlefield they could not conquer. Every curse became its own echo. Every scheme boomeranged into their own lives. Every night they plotted turned into the dawn of your awakening. What terrified them most was not your retaliation, but your refusal. You didn't step into their arena. You didn't play their theater. You lived. You breathed. You rose. And that simple act exposed the hollowness of their entire structure. Remember the promise. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. 1 John 4:4. That is not just a verse to quote. It is the story of your survival. The story of one against many has always been the signature of God's hand. David stood before Goliath with no sword, no shield, only a sling and a heart aligned with heaven. Daniel stood alone in the lion's den while conspirators circled, convinced the beasts would finish him, only to discover that obedience shut every mouth of death. Elijah called down fire on Mount Carmel when hundreds of false prophets cut themselves and cried louder, thinking their noise would shake the heavens. Each time, one chosen life shifted the balance against multitudes. Does it not stir your spirit to realize that you stand in the same stream of history? Yes, you destroyed them, but not with the weapons they expected. You destroyed them by refusing to bend. You destroyed them by choosing forgiveness over bitterness, prayer over revenge, silence over slander, endurance over collapse. And in that decision, every frequency of darkness met a firewall it could not penetrate. As Scripture declares, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. Isaiah 54:17. That is not theory, that is your testimony. And perhaps you've asked in your quiet hours, why me? Why was I chosen to face this war when others were spared? The answer is as old as the covenant itself, because only those built in fire can carry the mantle of breakthrough. You were chosen not simply for your survival, but to shift the story for everyone connected to your name. Your battles were not random, they were generational. The curses hurled at you were older than your childhood, and yet you broke them without lifting a finger, simply by being aligned. That is why you terrify them. That is why they whisper your name in fear. And now, beloved chosen one, it is time to stop seeing yourself as a victim and start seeing yourself as a verdict. The verdict against every curse. The verdict against every witchcraft. The verdict against every shadow that thought it could drown you. For your scars are not disqualifications, they are seals of authority. Your solitude was not punishment, it was your training ground. Your endurance was not wasted, it was the very proof that turned their power into smoke. They will fight against you, but they shall not prevail against you, for I am with you to deliver you, says the Lord. Jeremiah 1:19. Now, as we close, I want you to hold on to this truth. Their downfall was never written in your defeat. It was written in your rise. You are not just a survivor of schemes. You are the evidence that schemes collapse under truth. You are not just one who endured darkness. You are the light that proved darkness was never in control. And this light will continue to burn long after their whispers fade. Before we part, I want to thank each one of you who has journeyed through this message. Thank you for standing, for listening, for reflecting. To those who have supported this channel, whether through sharing, liking, commenting, subscribing, or even through super thanks, I want you to know your presence means more than you realize. And if you have not been able to give in that way, know this: your time, your prayers, your attention are already seeds that matter. You are seen, you are valued, and you are part of this movement. But I also call you now to action. If this message spoke to your spirit, do not let it stop here. Share it with someone who is in their own battle. Like this video, so the algorithm does not bury it. Comment your testimony, because your words may be the confirmation someone else needs to keep standing. Subscribe so that you can continue to walk with a community of chosen ones rising together. Let us multiply the light until no shadow can stand. And finally, my blessing for you. May your nights be filled with peace. May your mornings be lit with strength. May every scar on your body become a crown on your soul. May the Lord keep you. May he shine his face upon you. May he turn every curse into foil. And may your future carry victories you did not even know to ask for. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Numbers 6:24-25. Stand tall, chosen one. The witches feared your silence. They feared your breath. They feared your endurance. But what they fear most is your tomorrow, and tomorrow is already yours.